Good afternoon. Welcome into the Tuesday Tiger Recruiting Show where I'm Gabe DeArmond, and Sean Williams, who's not on your screen but will be on your screen momentarily, talk about Missouri recruiting every Tuesday afternoon. I just got done with Eli Drinkwitz's press conference not long ago, going over to practice when we're done, but squeezing the recruiting show in for you guys to update you on everything very shortly. Sean is our so-called insider, expert, guru, whatever you want to call him. You know who is your expert for home loans and mortgages? That would be Brandon Barnes over at USA Mortgage. He is here in Columbia, Missouri. He played football for Missouri. He coached at Missouri, and then he worked for the Tiger Scholarship Fund and in the athletic department. He is now out of that game into the mortgage game, and he's the guy you want to go to. 573-818-2772, 573-390-0001. You can get a free quote online at showmemortgage.com. But if you do that, you're passing up a chance to talk to Brandon, and you always want to talk to Brandon. So why don't you give him a call? He's got competitive rates, great customer service, and give him the first shot if you're looking at a new home or a refinance or anything along those lines. We'll bring Sean Williams in now and encourage you guys to fire at us with questions, comments, whatever you've got. I see him over there in the queue. We will get to them as we go along after we exhaust our wealth of knowledge, which, I don't know, Sean, should take 46, 47 seconds anyway, I figure.
It's that time of year still. Gabe, I do like your intro of me. You gave me like 5 job titles, and usually if you have 5 job titles, you have none. So, I mean, right. I don't know how much of an expert or guru I am. But, yeah.
Well, it's one of those things where you make the guy the associate head coach just so nobody else will hire him away. It really doesn't mean anything, except you might have to pay him a little bit more, and he's harder to fire. So.
Right. I like the intro, though. Yeah. But, yeah, it's that time of year, and we were talking about it before we came on. What are we going to talk about? Well, we'll talk about some things, but there ain't a lot to talk about still because, you know, it's one of those times a year where, look, I think Missouri's going to have some kids come in the next couple of weeks for their home games, but I don't think there'll be a lot of 2022 kids, you know, in terms of like top targets, things like that, you know, because a lot of them are still playing football right now, you know, and they got playoffs going on. And so I think the crucial visit times will be in December after the season's over. Oh. And, you know, kids will have more time to kind of come in and see that. And, you know, Missouri's offered some new guys, but, you know, how interested are those guys? We're still trying to figure that out right now. And, you know, I think we'll figure that out once December hits and, you know, we'll see who comes on campus and who doesn't. So, right.
Also, these are 2 pretty big home games for Missouri. Like, they need to win these games to get to a bowl. And that's what Eli Drinkwitz is focused on right now. Not that he's going full Dan Mullen and doesn't want to talk about recruiting during the season, but just, look, do you want to bring a kid in for an official visit, you know, in mid-November where you've got a game that you really need to and can win, or would you rather bring that kid in mid-December when you've got a full weekend that you can spend with him and, you know, kind of devote your time to? And almost all coaches, I think, are going to take the second option. So we do know of a couple kids that are planning to come in, and like we were talking about before we came on, it's very focused on 2023 right now. The first kid, and Sean, you're going to have to remind me. I think Missouri offered him at some point, but I can't remember. But Tyler Gant out of CBC, a 2023 defensive lineman, tweeted that he's coming in this weekend for the South Carolina game. And he's a kid who Kentucky offered him like early in the summer, and then all of a sudden, like, he really started picking up interest as he was going to camps, and then had a really strong start to the season for CBC.
Yeah, surprisingly, Missouri has not offered him yet that I know of. Now, I know he was on campus over the summer. I don't know if he worked out for the staff or anything like that, but they still have not offered him. So it might be a situation where he eventually gets an offer. They just kind of wanted to see him, see his highlights, see his film from this season. So
he was at a camp. Yeah, I know he was at a camp I was at in June, and he did go through the stuff, and at that point it was just kind of, we like him, but we're not sure yet. I wouldn't be surprised to see that offer come this weekend during the visit.
Yeah, I mean, he's already got a handful of Power Five offers. So I think he's got like 14 overall. So, he's somebody that's kind of, like you said, once Kentucky offered him this summer, early in the summer, it was kind of a guy that started blowing up and getting more Power Five offers. So, yeah, I would think Missouri's going to jump in the boat here pretty soon. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually extended an offer this weekend while he was in town. Kind of makes sense. You're there, you're one-on-one. Say, hey, man, you're here. We want to extend an offer to you, make a good impression that way.
Yeah. I think the big news, at least in the last few days, and it surprised me, I think it probably surprised you, was Samuel Mpemba from IMG tweeting that he would be at Missouri's game against Florida. That's a kid all along that we've just kind of thought, like, I haven't even really followed him because we just never thought there was any chance there.
Yeah, I mean, he goes off to IMG, obviously, and look, he's the 19th ranked kid in the 2023 class, so it's obviously a highly rated kid. He's visited Notre Dame. He's visited some of the blue bloods that are obviously interested in him. And I know, recently, I think we talked about it on last week's show. I think last week's show, right before we came on, he tweeted that he was committing soon. We didn't know how soon. Kids maybe say that and they might commit next week, but
Right.
he actually, or the next day, who knows, but it turns out he's going to come visit Missouri, and that's good news. And, I know he talked to our Miami site earlier this week or a few days ago, and he said that he's going to commit in the next month or two. So very broad in that aspect. So
that is soon.
Well, yeah, that is soon, relatively soon. But, month or two, you never know. That could, and look, it's 2023. We can get a month in or 2 months in, and he might not be committed yet. He might want to take other visits. So you just don't know how those things are going to go. But the fact that Missouri is getting a visit is good news. And I know a lot of people on the board kind of said, hey, look, maybe this is a product of Burden, committing. And I'm sure it probably is. You see guys like Mpemba that sees – guys like Burden that are highly rated go to Missouri. And, obviously Mpemba's from the St. Louis area. He's been at IMG the last year or so. But, yeah, I'm sure that makes a pretty good impression, to play with a guy like him and to, have kind of that St. Louis feel and everything like that. So the fact that Missouri's getting a visit from him is pretty big.
Yeah, and who knows? We'll see where it goes, But I like committing soon a lot better than just like the news dropping sometime tweet with the eyeball emojis, like what sometime, man? Like, do I just have to sit in front of my computer here for 6 hours, or are we talking sometime like, January 20th?
I like the ones that say they're committing soon, and then like maybe 5 days later they say committing to the All-American Bowl for next year.
Yeah, that's the worst. I saw a kid actually commit to the 2024 All-American Bowl a couple days ago on Twitter, and I'm like,
dude,
I mean, good for you. Like, tweet it. That's awesome. But what are we doing?
You got to
here?
secure that spot early, Gabe, nowadays, or it's going to get taken away.
Apparently. I had no idea. Kyle wants to know, do you think the staff will fill out the 22 class mostly with defensive players besides, other than maybe a running back? I would say they want one more offensive lineman, I think, and I wouldn't rule out a tight end.
Yeah, I haven't heard much on the tight end, but yeah, definitely an O-lineman because they're still offering O-lineman and running back for sure. I mean, we talked about it. DeAnthony Gatson, the former USC commitment, and the Andrew Paul kid, who's starting to pick up a lot of offers now. Got a lot of attention after that 400-yard performance recently. But those are two guys that they kind of want to add as a second running back to go with Tavares Jones. So. Pretty good options there. Those are two Texas kids to go along with Jones, who's from El Paso. So definitely looking to add another running back, definitely looking to add another offensive lineman. Not so sure on tight end, but that's a possibility. But, yeah, the rest of them are probably going to be defensive line, linebacker, secondary for sure.
Yeah. Colby wants to know if there's anything new on Antonio Doyle, and I'll give you my standard smartass answer first. Yes, there is. We just have chosen not to tell you guys. But no, the real answer is nothing beyond what we initially posted. I sent Antonio a text and haven't heard back. I should probably follow up and try to see if we can get in touch with him sometime soon. But all of our indications is that Missouri is certainly – I think under consideration from his end, maybe on the short list from his end, and we don't have a great feel right now for will Missouri or take him or not. I would lean toward they would take him, but also, like, I can't stress this enough. Even they don't really know how many spots they have left right now. You know, I mean, they've kind of got to wait till the end of the year and figure out how many of the kids that they want back also want to come back, how many kids are going to transfer out, how many spots they have. And I know people watching this are going, well, come on, they know that. They really don't know that. I don't think they know how many spots they have right now. Like, it could be as few as, theoretically, it's not going to be this, but it could theoretically be as few as, like, just a couple spots left. Now, it could be as many as, like, 12, but you just don't know yet. So I don't think you can just – I'm not sure if today Antonio Doyle is a kid that they say, hey, no doubt, no brainer, we'll take him and figure out the numbers later. I think they've got to know a little bit more about the numbers first.
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on this a little bit last week in terms of surprises at the end of the year. Once your season's over, you may know who's coming back, and you might have a good idea, but there'll probably be some guys that'll surprise you and say, hey, I'm jumping in the transfer portal, you know? So to know the numbers exactly, yeah, you're right, Gabe. Probably something they don't know exactly right now. And it's going to be kind of up to Missouri staff if, like you said, is he a surefire take for them? You know, and that's just going to be based on what they see from the film, what he's done at Texas A&M. I know he's kind of he was a linebacker coming out of high school. He's played a little DN for A&M now, which obviously linebacker DN's kind of two needs for Missouri right now. Yeah. But, you know, is he a surefire take? You know, we'll see. To be determined right now, I believe.
I think linebacker's a bigger need than defensive end. I mean, I think Trajan Jeffcoat's back next year. The way he's playing, I think Isaiah McGuire's had a pretty good year, so I think those might be your starters next year. You get Kyron Montgomery and Travion Ford healthy. You got Johnny Walker and Arden Walker. Like, yeah, if there's a guy that you think can come in and be immediately in the rotation at defensive end, I think you at least think about it. But also then you got to think, hey, if we take that guy, what's Arden Walker think? What's Kyron Montgomery think? You know, whereas at linebacker, look, man, they need dudes. I mean, they need dudes badly at linebacker. I think it might come down to, do you think he can maybe lose that 10 or 15 pounds and play linebacker?
Yeah, and obviously, just kind of bringing up too, obviously, Antonio Doyle knows Missouri well. He was committed to Missouri for a while, you know, before he committed to A&M. So he knows a lot about the program, obviously different staff there whenever he was committed. But, yeah, it makes sense. You know, we talked about it last week. You know, everybody that enters the portal is a topic of conversation on our message board. But Antonio Doyle is a guy that does make sense in terms of position of need and familiarity with the Missouri program. So it is worth talking about. And obviously, there is some interest there on Missouri's end, at least reaching out and showing some interest. But like I said, we'll see how we'll see what the interest level is on both sides moving forward here.
Yeah, depressed Mizzou fan. I'm sorry, man. I hope something goes your way here soon. But he wants to know, who could you see as Mizzou's first commit of the 2023 class? I don't know, Sean. You want to take your first shot at this, and then I've got kind of the guy that I think makes sense. But
I'd probably go Logan Reichard.
Yeah,
the offensive lineman out of Raytown.
Yeah, that's where I was leaning. We've heard Mizzou, Georgia for him for a long time. He's got a ton of ties to Missouri. He's a guy that you could really get behind. Brett Norfleet is a guy that I'm not sure would be out of the question, but he's starting to pick up some offers and maybe have a little bit more, a few more options than he thought he would have a month or two ago. I think you also have to, and look, I'm not going to pretend to have done this, but you kind of have to go maybe into the lower-ranked kids or the little lower profile in-state kids who maybe have been offered. But Logan Reichert's a top 100 kid. Brett Norfleet is not an unknown commodity. And I'm not saying a kid that doesn't have any other options, but maybe a kid that Missouri offered pretty early and other Power 5 schools either haven't or kind of waited a little bit longer to see. Just one of those kids that rather than like being ranked 2 or 3 in the state, like maybe he's ranked like 10 or 11 in the state, but Missouri likes him and jumped in with an offer early. A lot of times that's where the really early commitments come from, like Max Wisner last year.
Mm. I think Jakai Lang is a guy
Yeah.
that kind of fits that profile too. The kid out of Troy, Missouri. So I know they've recently went and watched him play, and he's been on campus a couple of times. So I think he's a guy that definitely kind of fits that profile. He does have Power 5 offers, but I think it's a guy that kid that Missouri could get earlier on. Going back to Norfleet, I think the biggest thing with Norfleet is going to be baseball. He definitely wants to play baseball in college. So who's going to give him the opportunity to do both? Talking to him recently, he's definitely mentioned Missouri and Tennessee were two options in that regard in terms of baseball and everything like that. So at least staffs that are open to him doing both. So I think that's going to play a big factor for him. He did say that he might kind of figure out and focus on a few schools after his season's over, and he's took a few more visits and just kind of maybe take a few more visits in the spring and kind of see where he's at, make a decision sometime during the spring. So that's a possibility too. But yeah, I think you bring up a good point there that kind of lower level guys that aren't top 100 or top 250 guys, and I think Jakai Lang is probably a guy that fits that profile too. So.
Yeah, Tom is asking if Alabama has offered Marquis Gracial. Seems like he would be a guy that would jump if he had the chance. So we reported, I don't know, Sean, that's been like a month, I think, that we said, hey, our information is that Bama's no longer pursuing him. I mean, technically, yes, they offered him at one point, but he could not commit there right now. He's locked in. He's coming to Missouri.
Even though he says he's taking other visits, but I don't think he's going to.
He says he's taking other visits, but, we're a couple weeks away, man. If that's going to happen, that needs to happen.
Yeah, and I mean he keeps talking about it, and even said that at Luther Burton's announcement. He's really solid. I mean, he did mention maybe he might go to Oregon. I don't know how much Oregon's pursuing him, but yeah, the thing with Alabama, I know he visited there during the summer, but that the interest there kind of dwindled, and I don't think he's going to take a visit there anymore. So
yeah. Brett Stevens wants to know, is a corner who can compete for a spot on the 2 deep a priority, and does Moses Alexander have a chance to be that? Sean, I'll let you start there because I know you wrote about the kid this morning.
Yeah, how convenient. I do know a lot about Moses Alexander, but yeah, I think he would be. I mean, he's tall. He's a big corner. He's 6'3", and I think that's what I like him at, his corner. They said that he said he likes. Fletcher likes his physicality, his versatility. So, and that's kind of a kid that doesn't seem like there's a lot of competition for him right now. He's got official visits to Missouri in December. I think that's on the 3rd, he said, and then I think he's taking one to Utah here in a couple weeks. Not really sure. I'm sure he'll probably take some other visits, but he's going to be a mid-year guy. But yeah, I think he would be. I mean, look, we're mentioning this. I think secondary, you want to offer guys that can come in and compete right away, especially secondary, maybe defensive line, and obviously having 2 years of JUCO experience will help out. I mean, I think they see Moses as some guy that can come in and be on the 2 deep right away.
Yeah, but here's the other thing. I'm looking at the scholarship chart. They have 11 defensive backs that are here through either 24 or 25 right now. And I mean, they're guys that play. Ishburdine and Chris Abrams-Drain right now are theoretically redshirt freshmen. They both play a good amount at cornerback. Ennis Rakestraw actually only played in 4 games before he got hurt, so he theoretically is a redshirt freshman again next year and would have 4 seasons to go. Snoop Reeves is a kid that got hurt in spring ball, but they're high on him. DJ Jackson has played in 5 or 6 games as a true freshman this year, so he's already, if he's not on the 2 deep, he certainly will be next year when a Caleb Evans and Allie Green leave. Davion Sistrunk he's only been in a game or 2, but they signed him last year. Dalen Carnell, they signed him as a corner. I think he's at safety now, but then over at safety, you've got Jelani Williams, Jalen Carlisle, Tyler Jones, and Tyler Hibbler, who are all young guys. Chris Sheeran is, I guess, I don't know if he's a slot corner now. We have him listed as safety, but I think he's more of a slot corner. He's got at least 2 more years after this. So, I don't know. I mean, I know they lose Green and Evans, and I guess they could go into next year going, hey, I don't think that enough of these guys are ready to be starters, and so we need somebody who is. But to me, more than a high school guy, that's when you're talking transfer. Like, if you're looking for a guy that can join the 2 deep at corner, I think you go transfer. If you're signing Moses Alexander, if you're signing another high school guy, I think you're more looking at, okay, we need some depth, but we don't necessarily need him on the field till like 2024.
That's excellent analysis by you, Gabe. A terrible recruiting pitch for a JUCO kid, though.
Oh, well, there you go. My bad.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. That's probably not what they're going to tell him.
Well, in that case, yeah. Okay, so I mean, JUCO kid is similar to a transfer. So yeah, if they think he can help right away, he can help right away. Now, I don't know if they. To me, if they sign a JUCO or a transfer there, you are kind of going, well, does that say something about either where Snoop Reeves is at in his rehab, or does that say something what you think of Rakestraw coming back? You know, I mean, there's also they've got Marcus Scott in this class, who is going to enroll in January. Now, I'm not sure, you know, that he's necessarily a guy that you say, hey, we think he's in the 2 deep next year, but the point is they got a lot of young defensive backs on this roster.
Yeah, I think that's something that's kind of will be intriguing. Looking forward to see who they add. You know, obviously they're pushing. Seems like they're pushing pretty hard for Moses Alexander. They've got an official visit already scheduled. So, what is that? It's like you said. What do they think about the other guys? And hey, who might hit the transfer portal? You know, remains to be seen. You know, well, so.
Yep. Never have too many. You sort it out later, I guess. So
right, that's kind of how it works, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, 85 limit. What's that? We'll just sign 112, and we'll worry about which 27 are going to leave later on.
Well, it's like you try to recruit the best players, and then the players that are on the roster have to earn their jobs, and if they don't, well, I mean, they have options. So
right, and you know, it's fair to wonder about some guys that aren't. I mean. Like Allie Green and a Caleb Evans, I think have another year left, but I think it's pretty. They were both pretty clear when they came here. You know, I'm out after a year. You know that I don't think they're. Right. I think even if they find out they're not NFL guys, I think they might just say, "Well, that's cool. I'll go do whatever I'm going to do." You know, I could be misreading that. We'll see. But again, it goes back to the whole. We got to kind of wait a month to figure out really how many spots and where they're going to be looking for kids. Because if something happens like. And I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen. But, like, all of a sudden after the season, if Tyler Beatty was like, yo, man, I really like it here. I just want to play another year. Okay, cool. You're good. We'll take you back. We don't need a running back in this class all of a sudden, right?
Right. Exactly. So. Yeah. A lot of things can happen in this next month, you know, when the season ends and everything. So I think it's why you're going to probably see, like I said, we mentioned this earlier, but you're going to see a lot of these 2022 kids come in December. You know, the 3rd or the 10th, those 2 weekends, because I think Missouri is going to try to figure out what is a priority, you know, and who they need to bring in and things like that. I think they'll have a little bit better picture on that in December for sure.
Yeah. All right. I don't know, Sean. You want to talk about anything else, man? Just anything else going on in your life you need to talk about?
No, I'm surprised nobody mentioned Dominic Orange, which we kind of already mentioned this before, but he did do an interview with our Kansas site and pretty much did not mention Missouri. So, I mean, that kind of jives with what we've been saying. Missouri's interest is kind of waned there. Seems like it's going to be more of a Kansas-Iowa State battle, even though he says he's going to try to take visits to Ohio State and some other top programs, but I don't really think he's going to go to Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm going to try to take a visit to Ohio State too. They won't know I'm there, but I just go check it out. So,
you can always sneak in like our man did, and I can't even think of his name. Committed to Clemson.
Toriano Pride.
Yeah, Toriano Pride.
And no, we don't have any indication anything's happening there.
So. No. But it is funny you said that, and we can. Do the Toriano Pride. Just come to the game and hang out.
There you go. All right, Sean. Appreciate it, man. We'll let you run.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, that is Sean Williams getting you up to date on everything Mizzou recruiting. He even knows which kids are JUCO kids and which kids are high school kids, and sometimes I need a little help on that front, obviously. So appreciate you guys hanging out here with us. If you're watching live, do me a favor. before you log off, and that is just hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. That way you're always going to get a heads up when we go live. You'll get a push notification on your phone. So if you're not doing anything, you can just kind of pull up that YouTube app and check us out. So do those two things if you're watching live. If you're listening on the podcast, which I'm going to upload as soon as this is done, leave us a nice review, say some kind words about us. We encourage, I believe 5 is the most stars you can give. If you find a way to give 6, give that. But do those two things for us, and it helps us out. This is something that we provide for free to all you guys all year long, and it does help us. The more people that watch, the more people that know what we're doing, that allows us to continue to do these things for you guys every day for free. So if you like that, keep on doing it. Appreciate you guys, and also appreciate Brandon Barnes for making that possible. He helps us out with this show every single week. Brandon is over at USA Mortgage. You can check them out at showmemortgage.com. You can get in touch with him directly at bbarnes@usa-mortgage.com, or at either of those two phone numbers there, 573-818-2772 or 573-590-0001. One thing I can promise you is Brandon is going to get back to you promptly. He is going to provide you excellent customer service. He's not going to waste your time. He's going to get you the best rates he can get you, and he is going to be with you every step of the way throughout, whether it's a refinance, whether you're buying a new home, whatever you're doing. Brandon is the guy that you at least need to start the search with. At least give him a shot and say, hey, here's what I'm looking at. What can you do for me? Brandon's going to do his best. He's going to get you the best rate he can get you, and he will take care of you throughout the entire process. We've been working with Brandon for a couple years, and he is always responsive and very helpful. Anything he can do for you. So check out Brandon over at showmemortgage.com. Get your free online quote. Thanks for watching, guys. Tomorrow afternoon, Mitchell Forty joined me for the 573 report. Thursday, we're going to preview South Carolina. Friday, we'll make some more picks. I just added it up. I think 16 games over 500, something like that this year. So you guys are missing out on my free gambling advice every Friday if you're not checking out those shows. So appreciate it, guys. Talk to you later on.